Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today we are reviewing the Ninjago City Docks. This is a set sent to us from LEGO to review, so thanks a lot guys for sending over this set to us. Currently we have it plugged in with the Ninjago City set, so we're going to be doing not necessarily a comparison, but just sort of what they look like when you match both of the sets up together, which, by the way, they look great if you can't already tell. And I'm knocking things over already. Okay, let's get into the review. So first thing is first, the set has 3,553 pieces. It sells for £199.99 in the UK, $129.99, and the same in Euro. That gives this set one of the lowest part to price ratios out of any set this year so far. And considering the amazing diversity of parts that come in this set, I would say it's probably one of the best bang for your buck sets that you could possibly get. Now, jumping straight into the build, the first thing I want to do is really show it with the Ninjago City set. They both have wonderfully compacted details stacked and squished together, and it's awesome to see how they were designed to really match up quite well. With the Ninjago City docks being a base plate and a half long, while the Ninjago City set is just a regular 32 by 32 base plate, that creates a total length of 80 studs, which is a huge amount of real estate, and the LEGO designers did not let any of it go to waste. As you see the camera panning by these different angles, it's almost hard to tell where that division line is, and if you zoom up close you can see that those plates just didn't match up quite right. In fact, the tables are a little bit uneven where I'm shooting this, but it's wonderful that that upper walkway completely matches up seamlessly from this particular angle. The green surfboard and yellow snowboard are where that division line is. The safety rails have been built with the same building technique to make sure that you don't really see that seam, and from the back end it's also very difficult to know exactly where that line is. You can see the plate kind of pops up just a little bit at the bottom, and the easiest way to tell the difference is where the blue building touches that bit of yellow and tan. In general, though, you can really see how well the water matches up with the dock scene, and I'm more than happy with how well these two sets match up. They feel just as intuitive as any of the modular creator sets that have come out before, but of course the architecture and build design is just so completely different and very cluttered and kind of a fluid looking design between all these different shaped buildings that I already am thinking about what maybe a third attachment might look like. Now this is what the model looks like if I've just switched around the Ninjago City Docks set to attach kind of the other way. This isn't even an intentional design per se, but you can see that because the build doesn't feel too out of place even if I connect it from the other end. It might be a little bit more obvious from this angle just because that walkway at the top all of a sudden doesn't have an end point, and it might not look quite as good with those exposed yellow and tan walls looking a little bit less detailed but very much within the dimensions of the build, but still it looks pretty good even if you match it up the other way. I can't tell you how happy I am that these two builds look so good together. Just all the different colors, shapes, and sizes make me never ever want to take this thing apart. But this is a review on the Ninjago City Docks set after all, so let's take it apart and actually take a closer look at all of the different things you can find within this build. In a similar fashion to how I reviewed the Ninjago City set, I'm gonna go room by room, floor by floor, inside and outside, and we'll just take a look at what the whole thing is. Now this is considered the front section, I guess, of the docks set because, well, of course it's called the City Docks set. It has the dock here, even though I think the design detailing on the backside looks just as good, if not better, for the buildings. Taking a look at the first of the upper level structures here, this is the tea room. It's got kind of a lot of different things going on. In fact, there's a weird little detail almost in every single corner with the different colored doors, the neon sign. I can't read what the Ninjago language is, even though I know it's a real language. There's even that little sticker print on the sidewall, and on the opposite end you have a great little build for the window, and right outside is a fun little build for a rack that holds some newspapers. Here we can read, "Ninja identities are a mystery." Then if you look closely you can see that the roof is not actually studded in. It's kind of an older take on how Creator used to add stacked levels, and for the most part that works pretty well. Now when we look closer inside you can see a ton of drawers where the different tea would be. One of them is open using that hinge piece. It's a great detail. The red and green on the top looks wonderful. The handcuffs make up scales on the counter, and on the other edge you can see some more newspapers as well as those red slopes that make up the detailing allowing for drawn back curtains. Basically, no detail is left out here, and that really is the case for all the different structures here, and one of my favorite aspects of these Ninjago builds. And perhaps a close second favorite aspect of this build, or these types of builds, is the wonderful skyline that the structures leave. The roof here has a wonderful design, but it might not look quite as good as Miss Steak's house. The shape for the roof is absolutely wonderful. Those are some clipped on pieces that usually are used for road signs, but it makes up a great tile detailing. You can see solar panels, a TV antenna, and then just an excellent use of a wagon wheel that makes up the circular window. It just looks so good, especially in the lighter nougat there, contrasting against the brown. It kind of opens up on a weird sort of ratcheted joint. It doesn't close all the way. It's got a little bit of a loose wobbly feel to it, but wait a second, check that out. That little green bush growing there is an upside down Joker hairpiece, the latest Joker from the Batman movie. That's his hairpiece, just upside down on a lightsaber blade handle. And then you can take this aspect, this little piece of the roof off here, though I don't know if you're really supposed to. It's probably better just to go through the top. Interestingly enough, this roof here is studded on, and then the interior shows a very well decked out kitchen. You can see a TV, 2 sink faucets, a lantern, pot and pan, sand green drawers underneath, and a little decoration that goes above the window. I've honestly seen kitchens in other sets that have 3 times as much space and the exact same amount of detailing. Now on the other end, you can see just where the window is and the other beds. That's the same build style for the bunk beds that we had from the Lego Ninjago City set. And then the whole thing comes back together. I really like the way it all fits in there. There's a sliding door, and then the second half of the house is just across this little walkway, and they're sort of split in two. This here is the map room, all sticker detailing, and on each of the walls is a tile with a special detail. 2 maps, and then the third one has the Destiny's Bounty. Next to the sextant is even another map where you can see more detailing, and right next to the globe is a little drawer that has a book. Inside the book is the collectible Atlantis card on the inside. Pretty simple sticker detailing, but a nice little thing to include. And then let's move on to the next structure. I have a feeling this is probably going to be a lot of people's favorite build. It sticks out a bit more with the brighter variant types of blue and gold and nougat, and it probably should because it is an arcade. Along with the building structure also comes with some of the walkway and ramp. You can't pull them apart, they're exactly connected. And then first thing I want to do is show you the fun billboard feature. You can see along the side is one of the billboards that showcases some of the Ninjago guys. You can just pull back this little lever that keeps it in place. Great sticker detailing. I know people aren't big fans of stickers. And then be careful, remember that not all of the roofs are studded in because, well, I seem to have forgotten. That was an oops. Now moving on to the function that I like so much, you can open up the doors if you like and pull out all of the different types of billboard advertisements. Let me know in the comment section below which set you think this belongs to. That's a throwback. We've got a breaking news bulletin showing Garmadon attacking. Then here is another old set throwback that is Johnny Thunder up in the corner. I do appreciate the callbacks, but this next billboard is my favorite because it's a sushi sign with a great little print that makes up a cute octopus. Now, I said before you could open up those car door pieces to let out the different billboards, but when you push in that little piece, I only pushed it out partially so you could see, but that actually pushes the billboards out on their own. So that's a great little function. I always appreciate when the trigger activation is camouflaged as just a bit of detailing. That's always nice. And then here is a vending machine that has a function kind of similar to the ATM, but wholly more intricate and I think a lot more impressive. Where you have the function of taking money out of the ATM, here you can use a money tile piece by inserting it sort of halfway into that little slot that's open, and it just manages to push out one of the soda cans. Before or after taking this shot, this function never messed up once. It works 100% of the time, at least so far here in our studio, and that's really, really impressive. I'm not even sure how it works entirely on the inside. I didn't build this part, but let's move on. And now the front entrance has a little half sort of round tile piece that makes up the handle there. I like that. And then when we get into the arcade, we've got 2 arcade machines that you can take out because they're just kind of studded in there on one jumper piece. They're absolutely meant to be taken out of the build. The sticker detailing is on both sides, so you can't appreciate it unless you take this piece out. Forgive me if I don't know which games these are supposed to be based on. I have a feeling they're probably referenced from an actual 80s arcade game at some point, but the graphic detailing is wonderful on both. I like how the control layouts for both games are different. It really is two different types of control games. This one's called Junkbot, and then the rest of the arcade has just enough space for a small candy machine and I guess a counter with a cup of coffee, and maybe that's a calculator on the wall. Even more graphics or posters that are up on the wall there. Just tons of detailing. Once again, this is just like the last Ninjago City set where the detailing is absolutely everywhere. Now you can watch me struggle getting the roof back on. This one was a slightly different build. You can see how it's supposed to sort of wedge in properly. The fact is the fit was just a little too tight. I just wasn't getting it for maybe a minute and a half, but eventually they all matched up. This is the little pig head. Remember, I dropped the thing on the ground earlier and one of the pink pieces fell off the eye. You can actually see it in the corner of the screen. I didn't notice when I was taking the shot, but I do like the overall build here. Very fun, intricate way of making a sphere. And now let's check out the last of the modular rooms, or the last of the rooms that you can really take off of the main build. This is the dojo. Attached to the build is once again a little bit more of the structural bits like the stairway. I like how those studs have been shifted onto the sides and the tan bricks are going horizontally instead of built vertically. That's a really fun little touch. The entrance is relatively simple, and then a pretty well fleshed out interior. Lots of gold that rims the bottom of the room. You can see a scroll in the back and tons of katanas and throwing stars and even trophies. There's a trophy section with old pictures from maybe previous competitions, probably throwbacks once again to the Ninjago series. I'm not that familiar with the storyline or anything, but it's a wonderful, wonderful little setup. Okay, we've pretty much broken the whole thing down into the main base plate, and I'm going to pick it up and show you guys the interiors of some of these rooms. But before I do that, I have to activate this little destruction function. It's not even really a destruction function so much, but you can tip over all of the fruit in the fruit stands. And if I pick it up and I'm moving the thing around, I've got to take the fruit out. So that's a pretty simple function, as you can see. And then there isn't much left behind that in terms of an interior for this building. In fact, hardly anything is left here. You can see one little butcher's knife up on the wall, and that has to do with the rotisserie chicken. Here's a fun little action function, I suppose. You can just twist the roast turkey around. I think that's the turkey piece, though. I think I would think of this as maybe a duck or something. That's usually what you see in an Asian market. Barrels underneath the stairs. And then here is the sculptor's room. Plenty of little statues and little sculptures kind of put onto one corner. Some simple lantern pieces. And now let's build this whole thing back up really quickly. There's one more detail in the front I'd like to point out. There's still a few others that maybe you'll discover on your own, but next to the stairs in the front we have a wonderful build for a boat. At the bottom is a little compartment for a couple of collectible Ninjago cards. You've got Garmadon there and definitely Zane. The front has a compass, a red light, a small sail, and the overall look and shape of this boat really works for me because it's all sort of darker, more muted colors. It feels very realistic. You could take this build directly out of here and put it into some other type of period piece. And then let's move down to the docks themselves. These barrel pieces actually rest directly onto the tiles. Nothing feels too loose. I believe those brown pieces are just little fez hats kind of molded in brown. And then we have this very small crane with an extremely simple function. You can attach this little barrel to the hook, and it's set up at a height where you can really just drop the barrel off directly onto the boat. So you can have little transfers there at the edge of the dock if you want to move supplies around. So here is the set as a whole, and let's get into all of the minifigs. There are 13 minifigures included, and I haven't talked about any of them until right now. So let's get started. Starting in the order of the names we get them on the box, we've got Runjay. Sorry if I say the name wrong, I didn't see the movie. She's got a rice hat, pretty simple detailing that make up, you know, sort of basic workers' clothes from the old world. I like the way the neck bracket piece was used to hold the bar that's a balancing on her shoulder. And then Runjay has similar kind of workers' clothes, though now in dark tan. You can see a little bit of printing for the leg and groin piece. I believe that's like a sinker for fishing. Great print for the face. And then Dareth has printing that reminds me of the bad kid from Karate Kid Part 1. It's pretty minimal and simple, just some gold detailing, a little bit of dark gray on just a black body. Personally, I like the more simplified prints that don't have a ton of crazy colors on them. I think this is a really good example of a good print job, and the same thing goes for Little Nelson. He's got a very similar style of print here, though on a white body. And then Little Nelson's also holding an arm cast. Sorry, I have it turned the other way. It's supposed to be wrapped around his arm like it's broken. Runmei, the sculptor, has a hammer and chisel. I really like that lipstick piece being molded in black to make up the chisel. One of my personal favorite smaller pieces, in fact, because it's so fun for micro building. Awesome facial prints. I don't believe they are unique, but I really do appreciate them. And then Chan Kong Sang has probably the simplest and most basic style of casual clothes, I think. Maybe they're martial arts clothes, I'm not really sure. I do like that they are sleeveless though. Reminds me of maybe Jackie Chan Drunken Master. And then Mistake. She's got a pretty simple print for kind of a nice knitted sweater, a teapot, as well as a teacup. That teacup is the upturned inkwell piece. At least I know that piece as being an inkwell part from before, but she looks very, very complete with her accessories for sure. And then Betsy comes with the baby fig, a bottle, and a relatively simple print just on the torso that makes up some robes. I like that the robes came in green, a little bit more of a flashy color compared to a lot of the muted ones we've seen so far. And here is Chad. He's got an NH for Ninjago High School on his Letterman jacket, some slicked over hair, couple of expressions, and a slightly lighter blue mold for the legs. That was a good choice, but this guy's definitely my favorite from the set. We've got Cole in his casual clothes, so you can see sort of the music audio levels, print on his t-shirt, a belt, also little print on the legs to show some lower pockets, a jacket, and some styled, kind of slicked, swept over, longish hair. Pretty complete looking guy though for sure. Then a pretty standard Lloyd. We've gotten this Lloyd in several sets before. He does come with an alternate hairpiece to show his blonde hair. Private Puffer looks pretty solid. The best part about him is the mold for his head, in my opinion. The eyes and the visor are trans clear, while the rest is molded in orange. It just looks a little bit nicer. Good expression for the face. And last but not least, we've got Garmadon. This is once again a version of Garmadon that has appeared in several sets before, but he's still a good looking fig. And oh my gosh, that was the entire LEGO Ninjago City Docks set. I'm really glad that another very large, very high quality set came from this LEGO Ninjago movie theme. I personally think it was one of the best LEGO themes in terms of builds that has ever existed, and honestly, this set does not disappoint. I still think it's probably one of the best part to price ratio sets that we're going to be getting all year, maybe all next year, but for us, we're definitely not going to be parting it down. I'm definitely keeping this together for sure. All right, that is it for this episode, everybody. If you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and we will see you next time at BrickVault. Oh, hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to pop in really quick and say that we do have a web store, BrickVault.toys, that sell instructions for super high quality MOCs that are built by incredibly talented designers. So that is the first link in the description below. And also there's other videos too. We've got other things if you want to watch that. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.